Hi, I'm Beth from My Tutoring Bee, and in today's video we're going over the Pythagorean Theorem. I have a few examples for us, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, here we have a triangle that is, two of the side lengths are labeled with 12 centimeters and 5 centimeters, and we are being asked to find this missing side length. Now this is the hypotenuse of the triangle, and the way that we can tell that it's the hypotenuse is that the two sides that create the 90-degree angle are going to be the legs of the triangle, and the hypotenuse is always opposite of that 90-degree angle. So let's go ahead and use our formula and substitute these numbers in and see if we can find that missing side length. Now it does not matter which of these legs is A and which is B because we are adding them together. So with addition we can add in any order, so that's why it doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and use 12 for A and 5 for B. So we're going to have 12 squared plus 5 squared equals, and then we don't know what C squared is, so I'm just going to leave that as C squared. Now let's go ahead and solve on this side. We do need to use order of operations, so we're going to do all of our exponents first. So 12 squared is 144, plus 5 squared is 25, and that equals C squared. And then let's go ahead and add these two together. 144 plus 25 gives us 169. And that equals C squared. Now, a common mistake that students will make is they will stop here and say, okay, our missing side length is 169. However, 169 is C squared. We're going to get into, at the end of the video, we're going to get into what that means when we are squaring each of these numbers and why that works for the Pythagorean theorem. But let's go ahead and finish solving this problem here. In order to find C and just C by itself, we need to take the square root of each side of this equation. So C squared, the square root of C squared is just C. Those are inverses of each other, so they cancel each other out. And then the square root of 169 is 13. So our missing side length is 13 centimeters. Let's go ahead and take a look at another triangle. In this triangle, we see that this side length is missing. And again, if we're looking at that right angle, the two sides that create that right angle are the side length that is 8, and then this side length that is the missing side length that we are trying to find. So that means that 10 is our hypotenuse, and it is a cross from that 90-degree angle. So that makes sense that that's the hypotenuse. Now, another common mistake that I see students making all the time is that they will see these two numbers and go ahead and put them into our formula like this and try to solve it this way. However, the hypotenuse, the C, always has to be on its own on the other side of the equal sign when we're adding A and B. So it's A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So that means that we cannot set it up this way. We would have to set it up as A squared plus B squared. We don't know what that is yet, so we're just going to leave it as B squared equals 10 squared. Okay, that's a really common mistake. So let's go ahead and solve this equation. So 8 squared is 64 plus B squared equals 10 squared is 100. Then we're going to subtract 64 from both sides of our equation. B squared equals 100 minus 64 gives us 36. And then again, we're going to take the square root of both sides because we don't want B squared, we just want B by itself. So B equals 6. So our mystery side here is 6 units long. Now, I told you that you cannot set it up this way when we're adding one of the legs in the hypotenuse. However, what you can do is set it up this way with C squared minus A squared equals B squared. This is okay because basically that's what we did here. We took the C squared, the 10 squared, got 100, and then we subtracted that 8 squared, which was 64. So this, we would have 10 squared here, A squared is 8 squared, equals B squared. So as long as you have them subtracted and you're starting with the hypotenuse squared here, then this setup is okay. This would give us the 100 minus 64, which equals B squared, and that's 36. So again, we get the same solution here, that 6 equals b. So you can set it up that way as long as it's a subtraction problem with the hypotenuse first. Let's take a look at another triangle. Now the two that I've shown you already have been perfect squares. This one is not a perfect square, so I wanted to make sure to include this as one of our examples. However, we still can use this formula. It is a right triangle. I'm going to go ahead and label the 4 as my B side and the 8 as my A side, just so that we can see it kind of the other way. And then our missing side length is the C. Again, here is our right angle, and those two sides that create that right angle are the A and B, so that's how I know that the 4 and the 8 are my A and B sides. So we've got 8 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. 8 squared is 64, plus 4 squared is 16. And that gives us C squared. 64 plus 16 is 80. And that equals C squared. And then again, we're going to take the square root of both sides of the equation to get C. Now 80 is not a perfect square, but we can simplify the square root of 80. If you are unsure or maybe want a little bit more practice with simplifying square roots, I have a ton of videos that I will link in the description below, but we're going to use the factor tree method to go ahead and simplify the square root of 80. I'm just finding two factors that equal 80 when I multiply them. So I'm going to start with 8 and 10, and then 8 I can simplify down into 4 and 2. I like to go ahead and circle my prime numbers when I get to them, just so that I know I can stop with that branch. 4 is 2 and 2. And then 10 is 2 and 5. Also, by circling them, that makes it really easy for me to see what numbers I'm looking at, what my prime numbers are that I'm looking at the end here. So I do see two sets of two pairs of 2. So that's going to equal one single 2 from one pair and another 2 from the other pair. And then inside the radical is 5. 5 has to stay inside since it doesn't have another pair. So then we can simplify that. 2 times 2 is 4. So we get 4 square roots of 5 for our C side. Now you might be asked to write this as a decimal or round a decimal, but this is a more perfect solution. Now we can also use Pythagorean Theorem to determine if a triangle is a right triangle or not. So that's what we're going to do here. In this triangle, we're given all 3 side lengths, but we are not told specifically that it is a right triangle. So we are going to test that using our formula. So again, let's go ahead and set up A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now remember, our longest side is always our C, and our two shorter sides are always our A and B. And again, it does not matter which one is A and which one is B. I'm just going to go ahead and substitute in 4 in for A, 3 in for B, and 5 in for C. So 5 has to be the C side because it is the longest of the 3 sides. And then let's solve and see if this creates a true equation. So 4 squared is 16, 3 squared is 9, 5 squared is 25. And then when we add 16 plus 9, that does give us 25. And so we do have a true equation, meaning that this is a right triangle. And I know that our right angle is right here because, again, those shorter sides are the 2 sides that would create that right angle. So I know that this angle is the right angle. Let's take a look at this other example. So we are just given the side lengths of our triangle. We don't have a diagram of it. However, we can still pretty easily see which sides are A, B, and C. Again, that longest side is going to be our C side, meaning that 8 and 11 have to be our A and B. So let's go ahead and set those up in our equation. Now, a lot of students might look at this and say, okay, well, 8 plus 11 equals 19. So it must be a right triangle. However, those side lengths do have to be squared. It has to be the squares of each side that have to be equal when we set it up in this way. Again, we're going to go over that. I'm going to give you a visual of why and how that works in a little bit at the end of the video here. So 8 squared is 64. 11 squared is 121, and 19 squared, I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator for this one, is 361. And then let's go ahead and add our 8 squared and 11 squared. That gives us 185, and that does not equal 361, so this is not a right triangle. So although the side lengths added together does equal the longest length here, this is not a right triangle. In fact, this wouldn't even be a triangle at all because of the triangle inequality theorem. Two side lengths added together must be at least larger than the third length in order for it to be a triangle. So this actually wouldn't be even a triangle. So let's go ahead and take a look at why and how the Pythagorean theorem works. So I wanted to make sure to give you a visual of where this comes from. So this triangle right here, this 3, 4, 5 triangle, is actually the same one that we just solved and just proved was a right triangle 2 problems ago. And I've got these squares set up here with grid marks on them. So as you can see, these grid marks are the same size as each other. They're the same length and width. They're all squares, and they match up with the sides of this triangle. So along this side of the triangle that is 3 units long, I've got this grid square that it has 3 square units going across, and it also has 3 square units going down, meaning that this area of this square is 3 times 3, or 3 squared, which equals 9. So we have 9 square units in this grid. And then I've also got a square over here that is 4 units long and 4 units wide. So again, the area of this square is 4 squared, which is 16. And you could count up all of these squares. There are 16 squares inside of this bigger square. And then for our hypotenuse, I need to rotate this a little bit, but I'm going to try my best to line this up with that hypotenuse of the triangle so we can see that this is 5 units long. And again, this square is a 5 by 5 grid. So we've got 5 squared equals 25. So when we're looking at the squares of all of these sides, what we're looking at is the area of the square that would be created if we drew a square out from each side of this triangle. So this smaller side has the area of 9, this medium side has the area of 16, and this larger side has the area of 25. And when we add up our smaller sides, 9 plus 16, that will give us the same area as that larger third side. So that's how the Pythagorean theorem works, and a little visual representation of that. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that this video was helpful for you in learning more about the Pythagorean theorem. I have a ton of links in the description below, so please check those out. If you're looking for more pre-algebra practice, all of my pre-algebra series covers what you would typically see in a pre-algebra class. If you're looking for more support in math, I do offer one-to-one tutoring, so reach out if that's something that you're interested in. Please leave me a comment below. That does help me to continue making these videos, and I'll see you next time.